Yeah, I mean, one of the themes sort of in the book and in this lens, I think, is we always have to look at so just the first thing I'll say is opportunity and risk. And I think that if we're only looking at the opportunities, then we're being a bit naive to the risks. And if we're only looking at the risks, then we're being a bit fatalistic and not recognizing just how much power we have to shape outcomes. So opportunities, yes, but let's sort of be balanced about it. I mean, for entrepreneurs, there are many, many levels at which you can answer that question. Maybe at the highest level, or maybe the broadest level, I think more sociologically than economically about the opportunities for entrepreneurs. So, if what entrepreneurship is, what are the challenges in society that maybe haven't been addressed yet that I can help address? I really think that the best entrepreneurs in this second renaissance are going to think really broadly about that question. So I think that, which one to start with? Maybe let me throw out two examples. Innovation. All right, innovation right now is probably one of the most used and least understood words in sort of just public discourse today. I mean, we all agree it's good and important, and none of us really know what it means. And I think there's a giant opportunity for entrepreneurs to pour specific meaning into that word innovation. And if you think of the kind of challenges that globalization, digitization, concentration are going to present us, I think the most powerful meaning of innovation is going to be about imagining what the world is going to look like in 20 or 30 years' time. And there are some things we know. There's going to be, probably about 9 billion humans alive on the planet. And we can backcast some foreseeable implications of going from 7.3 to 9 billion people. Right? And as soon as we backcast, we start to realize there are a lot of steps along the way from 7.2 to 9 billion that we don't know how we're going to solve. I think that innovation should be about solving the problems for how we get to some futures that we know we're going to face. So a lot of the work that's being done in new energy right now, I think, falls into that category. There are a lot of dimensions of sort of the world in 2050 that we haven't thought through nearly specifically enough. And to me, that's what innovation should be. So, for the entrepreneurs, look to 2050. What do we know? And then ask, what are some of the problems to getting there that we really haven't solved yet? Find those solutions, and that's innovation. Maybe a second is sort of more broadly in society. I mean, one of the, I think, just fundamental truths, one of the trends that we are on is that shock events in pretty much every domain are going to come more frequently, and they're going to be stronger. This is one of the consequences of concentration that I talk about in the book. So the shocks are going to come faster and stronger, and that has real consequences for social cohesion, right? How well society holds together. And if you look at the world in 2016, you see a lot of the fraying of social bonds under the strain of these concentrations that we live under. If you go back 500 years to the first Renaissance, where European society suffered a lot of the similar strains, one of the technologies that they developed to help society adapt to that was civility, was recognizing that there are certain virtues that are actually social technologies to help shape social behavior to thrive rather than break apart under times of stress. Here we are in Regina, Saskatchewan, and when I'm sort of talking to audiences here back home, I often talk about civility as, this is one of the sort of rich veins, one of the most valuable commodities that we produce here in Saskatchewan. And if you live and travel in many other places around the world, you recognize how scarce a resource that is. And we have, I think, a real opportunity, as social entrepreneurs, to figure out how do we package that? How do we do what we do first? How have we built a far more civil society than in many other places? Can we package that? Can we export that? What are the social practices that allow us to, even as we struggle, to continue to build that resource? I mean, that's a giant question that I think social entrepreneurs in maybe the best evolving sense of that idea can embrace. And if we can take that forward, that's something that's something that could really put Regina, Saskatchewan, on the map globally. As we just face more and more challenges, who do we turn to? What examples of navigating these challenges exist in human society to help us manage through these challenges? And this is really a space that we could own, that we could really plant our flag on and say, we've got really good practices to do these things. So those are two big ones. If we want to talk specific businesses and sectors, I guess we could do that too, but I'm sort of in the clouds sometimes.